We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Hello, in this video lecture, we are going to learn about perspective view, the general characteristics of perspective view, and the difference between isometric view and a perspective view. Let's start with the perspective. What is perspective view? It is the view of an object as it appears to observer. Who is the observer? We are observer. Okay, if we are looking at a building and the picture coming of a building in our mind is a perspective view. Building is object and we are observer. If we are looking at a car or any other object, then the 3D image appearing in our mind is a perspective view. Now, suppose we are clicking a picture with a camera or a mobile, then the background image means the object is in front of our camera lens. Our camera lens is observer and perspective view is the photograph. Take an example of live painting. Here, painter is observer. The objects in front of him is object and his painting is a perspective view here. Now, take an example that you are at a parking and car is parked in the park. Now you are at the front of the car. You are looking at the car. Okay. The picture coming in your mind is a perspective view of that car. Now go to the left side of car. Again watch it. The perspective view will be different. Now go to the back side of car. Again watch it. The perspective view will be different. Come in the right side or walk away little bit. Then look at the car. The perspective view will be different again. Why this happens? Because we are continuously changing the location. Who is changing the location? Observer is changing the location. That's why the perspective view change. Means if the location is of observer is going to be changed, the perspective view will be changed. Now take example when we are not going to change our position. Suppose we are at the OTA and looking at the car. Okay, the picture appear in our mind is a perspective view. Now go to the first floor and stand in a balcony. At the same position you are standing on OTA. Here you are changing your height. You are changing just a floor. Then look at the same car. The perspective view will be different. Now go to the terrace and again look at that car. The perspective view will be different. Here the position is same, but height of observer is going to be changed. So as per this example, if the height of observer is going to change, then again the perspective view will be changed. So this is the basics of perspective view. Now the question is why we are learning a perspective view, where it can be used. For example, consider that you are a contractor or a builder, alright, and you are going to sell houses of your society, which is not constructed, but you are going to sell it. So, if any customer comes to you and asks, which type of home I will get in your society, what will you show him? Drawings, of course. If you are going to say verbally that you will get 2 BHK row house and the dimension is this, height will be this, he will not understand. So you need to show a drawing. Which type of drawing? If you are going to show him plan, elevation section, will he understand? Not at all. You need to simplify your drawing. If you are going to show a brochure of your society, then he or she will easily understand it, because it's like a 3D image on a brochure. So the image on that brochure is nothing but the perspective view. So perspective view is useful like this. Before so many years, around 8 to 10 years, there was trend of making a model of your row houses or building or apartment, but it was costly. So perspective view replaced the model, but it is laborious to draw the perspective view, but it is lesser costly than the models. So models are completely out of trend now. We are going to show a brochure to our customers, and there is a perspective view on a brochure, from which a customer can easily identify that how which type of home he is getting from your society or your construction. Yeah, it can be drawn before construction also. Yeah, we are having the images that building are not even constructed, but after the construction it will look same like that image. We are going to draw a perspective view. Now make sure about a general characteristics of perspective view. We are not going to show any dimensions of in the perspective view. Why? Because it's like a 3D image. The dimension may be changed. So we are not going to show any type of dimensions in that. We are not going to show any type of structural details in the perspective view. We are not going to show any material details. Alright. So we cannot use this in the supervision work on site, because there are no dimensions. Even we cannot consider the perspective view as a legal document, because there are no dimensions in it. So this was the basics of perspective view. It is generally used for buying or selling purpose, or advertisement purpose. There is similar type of 3D view like a perspective view, that is isometric view. In diploma semester 1, there is a subject BED. In that, students have learnt the isometric view. Now, isometric view is also like a 3D view, and perspective view is also like a 3D view. But there is a little difference. Which kind of difference? Let me show you with the help of figure. So, here is a figure of isometric projections and perspective view. In very first figure, you can see the isometric. It's a cube. It's a cube-like object here. We can see the three faces of cube in both the projections. But in isometric projection, you can see that there is a similarity in all the three faces of cube. But in perspective view, you can see there is no similarity. The faces are little bit different, or the dimensions are going to be changed. Alright. So isometric projection is a standard drawing, and perspective view, yeah, that's also have a standard procedure how to draw it, but it may be different every time. Take an example that 10 persons are going to draw isometric view. The correct drawing of isometric view will be same for that 10 persons. But if 10 persons are going to draw a perspective view, then 10 perspective view will be different at the same time. The 10 perspective view may be right also. I'm showing you another image now for isometric view and perspective view. As we know, in the isometric view, there is a standard method to draw it. We are always taking the three lines at 120 degree angle, and from this figure we can identify the main difference between isometric view and perspective view, that are of lines. In isometric view, we can see the sides are always parallel. Which sides? Suppose consider this book. Okay, so there are three sets of parallel lines in any cubical object. Suppose this is the length. length, 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 a length. This is a one set of parallel line. And consider the width, 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 again width, width. This is a second set of parallel line. Then consider a height, 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 and height. So in any cubical object, you are going to have three sets of parallel line that will be always parallel in isometric view. But for perspective view, it will look alike a non-parallel lines as shown in figure. So this is the main difference, parallel and non-parallel lines. Now, which are the other difference? A very first thing, we have the standard view for isometric view, and for perspective view, it will be different every time, because if the location and height of observer will be changed, the perspective view will be changed. But there are no such a criteria for isometric view. And we can take any scale and prepare isometric view. But in the perspective view, there is a scale to draw the plan only. We are taking the projections from plan and vanishing point and drawing it. As there are non-parallel line, dimension can be continuously increasing or decreasing. Then dimensions are not shown in perspective view, so we cannot measure it from the perspective view. At the same time, for isometric view, we are going to show the dimensions in our isometric view, and we can also measure the dimensions from it. Another thing, for isometric view, we can draw it directly from a plan or a side view, okay? But for perspective view, it is compulsory to draw the plan before drawing our perspective view. Another difference, isometric view is easy to draw, while perspective view is little bit difficult or little bit laborious because of lots of projections. And last but the most important point, the isometric view is useful for engineers because the dimensions are shown in that. And the perspective view is useful for architectures because it's like a 3D image on a brochure. I have given already the example for perspective view. So it is more useful for architectures. So it was the difference between perspective view and isometric view. Thank you.